Good morning, and I hope you're all keeping really well. At the start of the lockdown, I logged into the Sunday service from my old church, where the theme was Luke 6, verses 46 to 49. You probably know it really well. It's where Jesus uses a parable about a man who built his house on rock versus one who built his house on sand. Jesus used this analogy to compare the fate of those who hear his words and act on them to those who don't. He uses similar analogies elsewhere in Scripture, such as one of my favourite parables, the parable of the vine in John 15. Here Jesus describes how we need to be rooted into him so that we remain in him and he remains in us. It got me thinking about what we need to do practically to build strong spiritual foundations, so that when adversity comes, as it has done, our faith will stand. So while Jesus is our rock, how do we cement ourselves into him? There are many good things we can do, but I wanted to focus on two key foundations that, to be honest, I've always struggled with: reading the Bible and praying regularly and persistently. I know that this dreaded lockdown has and continues to be a real struggle for many of us, and I don't wish to pretend that there are silver linings at every turn. Although I am loving the quieter skies over Walton and Weybridge. However, for me, being more housebound has given me an opportunity to be more committed to regular times for prayer, reflection and Bible reading. No more excuses about having to get up early to catch my train to work, for example. Pete Greig, in his book How to Pray, says this: "You cannot grow in prayer without some measure of discomfort, self-discipline, or self-denial. Just as you cannot get physically fit without regular exercise and a healthy diet, so your spiritual growth will be determined by the prayer exercises you choose or do not choose." That really hit me hard. I realised that it's up to me to take responsibility for my own spiritual growth. I can't depend on the once familiar church structure, the wonderful worship, and the encouragement of being around like-minded people, other than over Zoom, of course. The upside of all this is that I can develop spiritual practices that are right for me and are more likely to be sustained when the busyness of life returns. You see, in my early Christian years, I got a bit hung up on traditional ways to have a quiet time. I thought you had to get up early, and I'm so not a morning person. I thought you had to kneel to pray. I thought you had to commit Bible verses to memory. Fortunately, Christian friends soon enlarged my idea of what prayer could be like. And then more recently, despite a lifelong love of singing, I realised that I'm primarily an auditory person. And by that, I mean I learn best by listening, and that the spoken and sung word are incredibly important to me. It's how I've always tended to learn scripture in the past. Rote learning is definitely not my thing. So I've started to use resources like the 24/7 prayer movement's Lectio 365 to start my day. It involves just 10 minutes of reading or listening to a psalm, another piece of scripture, and a prayer, delivered in the handy format of pray. P for pause, R for reflect, A for ask, and Y for yield. As for Bible reading, I'd already committed in mid-January this year to reading the Bible in 1 year, using Nicky Gumbel's app. I am still a month behind where I should be, but I'm listening every day now. So if, like me, you feel the Lord is drawing you to develop better spiritual disciplines, I really encourage you to consider what format is best for you. There are so many different resources out there, both paper-based and online or app-based. I found it useful to consider my preferences for reading versus listening and what time of day works best for me. So, for example, I split my prayer and my Bible study between morning and evening. But whatever you do, make a start. I felt the Lord was reassuring me that it's never too late to start building stronger spiritual foundations. We all have down days, and no one has a perfect devotional life. But the important thing for me was to find a sustainable way of meeting with God, and then just keep going. Thanks for listening. Lots of love and blessings to you and all your families.